Hey family, welcome to another edition of the Living Day by Day show. I am your host, Lakeba Wallace. I am excited. Y'all know I'm always excited because I am always excited. God is doing amazing things and I am excited that God is still mindful of not just me, but he is mindful of you as well. So we thank you so much for taking the time to be a part, to zoom on in. I like that better. To zoom on in to the Living Day by Day show. Again, I am Lakeba Wallace, and y'all know I do not rock alone because y'all be tripping sometimes, and I got to have some backup in the room, and that's none other than the other host of the Living Day by Day show, celebrity comedian, Mr. Eric Love Jordan's in the building, or in the Zoom, should I say, in the Zoom.
Yes, I'm in the Zoom. I'm in the Zoom. I feel like an old man. I'm trying something new. I'm not doing this via my phone this time.
Oh my God.
So we're going to see how this works. We're going to see. So if I look extra dark, it's because with my phone, we do lights and all the stuff, the nice background. I ain't figured out how to do it yet on the computer yet. So
we going to work it out.
We going to figure it out.
We have people in the chat room, and we're just going to let people come in and be a part of the Living Day by Day show because that's what we do. We want people to be able to zoom on in and be a part of what we are doing right here on the set of the Living Day by Day show. We have a little bit of rules, a little bit of rules when you come in and you zoom into the Living Day by Day show. Please make sure that you put your phones on mute because this is a live Zoom and we are taping a live show with some live people.
Okay, yeah.
So put your phones on mute when you come.
We appreciate you, love you so much.
Yes. So we're gonna let everybody come on in. We want you to be a part of the Living Day by Day show, but make sure you have your Zoom, your phone, your computer, whatever it is, on mute so we can carry on with the show. Again, welcome to the Living Day by Day show. We want you to tweet somebody, Instagram somebody, do what you need to do, email them, text them. Don't go to their house though. Don't do that. Not during the pandemic. Don't go to nobody's house. Just use the electronic devices and let somebody know at the Living Day by Day show, guys. It is live. For those of you who are tuning in for the very first time, we thank you so much for being in the audience and being a part of the Living Day by Day show. But you're wondering, what is the show all about? Who is the girl rocking the sewing? Yeah, sewing. Yeah. During the pandemic, it's the sewing. Who is the guy over there? What is this show all about? I'm glad that you are asking. The Living Day by Day show, it's a show that brings you an avenue of information, an avenue of education, and an avenue of inspiration. So we want to inspire you, we want to inform you, and we want to educate you right here on the set of the Living Day by Day show. We tape this show, guys, every Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So make sure you tell the world to come and zoom in and be a part of what we're doing right here. We have an amazing guest, guys. We always have an amazing guest. We're going to chop it up and talk about some very vital topics, and that's none other than financial wealth beyond Wall Street. It's going to be an amazing show, so I want you to make sure you get your notepads out, get your pen out, and take some notes, because who wants to be in financial ruins? Who wants to be always living from paycheck to paycheck? Nobody's going to raise their hand and say, I want to be in financial ruins. I want to be the one who is living paycheck to paycheck. I want to be the one. Now, keep in mind, we do have some people who are right there. You know, I was once right there, and I began to just really educate myself and get around people who could educate me. And so that's what we're doing here on the set of the Living Day by Day show, trying to bring you an avenue of information. That information on this show today is about financial well-being. But before we jump into that, we're going to go ahead and get into the hot topics. Hot topics.
Yeah. All right.
Music.
I think we're ready. Yeah, you jumped in on my song now.
Yeah, you know, I'm trying to do a little something every now and then.
Okay, so I wanted to switch it up just a little bit on the hot topics. I know we're going through this pandemic and all this stuff that we got going on. So what I want to do each and every Thursday, I'm going to give you a nice song that is going to fill your spirit, fill your soul while you're going through this pandemic. So the song that I chose, and you got to go listen to this one. And you probably heard this before. This was the Chasha Cobb song, Your Spirit, featuring Kira Shears. But you got to go see the live version of it.
Oh,
so
wow.
You want to type that in. You want Chasha Cobb's Your Spirit, featuring Kira Shears, and type in live. If you ain't filled with the Holy Ghost, you need to go get in your prayer closet and start praying right then and there. The God touch you, because every time I listen to that, I'm in my car. I can't do it in the house because I'm snotting and crying, but I go in my car and listen so I can snot and cry out there. And be like, Jesus! Oh, God. We love it. And I do that. Right. So, yeah, that's the song that you can go listen to. So make sure you go listen to the pandemic song of the week. That is once again Chasha Cobb's. Now, the other topic I have that this is one that is still ongoing, and it's if you haven't heard by now, there was a young man. He was jogging in the neighborhood, stopped and was looking at a couple of houses while he was jogging. Normal thing that people can do if you're jogging, but he was gunned down and shot. His name is Ahmad. Now, you can sign a petition, because right now they're saying that the DA, because of coronavirus, that they're not going to put any charges up right now. But this case happened way before the coronavirus even started. This situation happened way before that. So we weren't even in a coronavirus at the time when this took place, so they could have literally brought charges to it. And what's going on right now is that a lot of DAs keep accusing themselves because the nature of the case, or because their affiliation with the case, or whatever it may be. So you can go and sign a petition for Color for Change, and you can text 55156. That's 55156. When you text that, type in the word justice, and it will send you the petition where you can sign, and you can send it to other people as well.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
I'm so glad that you brought that up, because I just found, and it's really alarming that this happened in February, but I just found out about it like 2 days or so ago. And we're not racist here on the Living Day by Day show, but the facts are what they are. Now, had that been two Black men who hunted down, I don't care how you want to put it, would have hunted down a white person jogging in whatever neighborhood, Black, white, Mexican, green, yellow, whatever, he would be in jail right now. As a matter of fact, let me step back a little bit. He probably wouldn't even be in jail right now. The brothers would probably be dead. They would have came full force. Green team, everybody would have came in and would have beat the living lights out of the two Black people that would have gunned down this white person. And so it's really sickening that in 2020, we are still going through this Black and white racist type thing. And I know we don't have a lot of time, right now on this show, and this is not what we're talking about today, but I do want you guys to know that I am actively engaging and trying to have a dialogue with the attorney so we can bring him on and have some good dialogue about this case, because this case is an injustice. I don't care what anybody say, who you are, where you live, or whatever. It is a complete injustice. So more to come from the Living Day by Day show, and we want our Berry family to know that we support you right here on the Living Day by Day show. We're going to give it some press time. We're going to be out there. We're going to do what we need to do to make sure justice is served. Good hot topic, E.
Yeah, okay. And if you've got any more information, please don't be afraid to share the information with us. We want to hear more information about the case. Just a side note, only reason why anyone would know this even happened, you notice how the video was filmed by somebody? Well, that video was shared by multiple people, and somebody got, kind of like from that movie where the video got shared of the guy killing someone, and they leaked it. Basically, he leaked it, and then that's why it got out there.
My God.
But I just want to share that information as well. All right, so let's go to another one. Now, man, this one right here, I almost feel kind of bad. But right now, the rapper, The Game, he has to pay $7 million. Lost his lawsuit against a young lady named Felicia Rainey. Now, not only has to pay $7 million, the record label that he owns, she owns it now.
Oh, wow.
She wanted that in the settlement. But I think the game is smart. The only thing that is on there in his record company is the last album that he made.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing. And that album hasn't really sold. It made over $200,000 unless she's willing to get record artists and start producing stuff. That's pretty much it. You know, unless the judge decide, hey, he gonna go after some more of her money. But so how the lawsuit and everything came about is that she was one of the ladies on his VH1 Bachelor type thing. It's called She's Got Game. And so how the story goes is that he took her out on a date, but it wasn't filmed at this bar, and consequently, she's saying that he tried to molest her, tried to do all this type of stuff to her. And I don't think he took the judgment seriously because he didn't show up to court. You know, try to ask continuous saying, you know, all this other stuff, wasn't taking it serious. And so I think that's what led to her winning the lawsuit.
Wow.
So, man, guys, you just got to be safe. You got to be careful out there. You got to make sure, and women, you got to be safe. You got to be careful out there. I mean, this reminds me of the NFL draft when you saw that young man, he got picked for a team. The lady was sitting in his lap. The mama asked her nicely to get up. She wouldn't get up, and she forcefully removed him.
Wow.
So you just gotta be careful with who you are and what you're doing. I'm careful even with my money. I'm kind of glad the corona here because you can't touch nobody. So I don't have to worry about that or anybody trying to sue me because I can't touch you anyway.
Can't touch it. Don't really want to talk to you anyway. Right. You gotta stay 6 feet.
Exactly. Exactly. And I know we don't have a lot of time, so I got one more for you. All right, so if you want to take a look at this, it's really funny. It's actually China mocking U.S. response to the COVID-19 in a Lego type animation movie. So it's like if you look on this and you just type in China mocking us response to COVID-19 in a Lego like animated movie, it will show you, and it's actually got direct quotes and tweets, quotes what Colt 45 said. So they're using that in his response to whatever things they're saying. It's hilarious. And it's making us, if you're a United States citizen, I don't know, I think I need to learn how to speak Canadian.
Oh my God. You know what? It's a whole
lot. The Canadian, son, I say, I think there's a lot of black people in Quebec. So I might need to head that way and go live with Drake for a while because the United States is tripping.
We might be coming over there, Drake.
Exactly.
What else you got,
room? Drake, you got room. Stop playing. Right. Don't do me like that.
Right.
Yes. Well, that's
Drake,
all my hot topics. Yes. So that's all my hot topics for this afternoon, this evening. So, you know, Hot Topics is brought to you by Watch Your Back. It is May, and you have not got your stimulus money. Your bill collectors are still collecting their bills. So it's brought to you by Watch Your Back.
And
that is hopefully Hot Topics.
You are so crazy. All right, guys, we are going to shift here. We're going to bring in our guests. I know a lot of you have been sitting and waiting for the second half of the Living Day by Day show. You were just listening to the amazing, crazy celebrity comedian Eric E. Love Jordan with the Hot Topics. If you're out there and you want to sponsor some hot Topics, please make sure you hit me up. You can hit E up as well. And we will be glad to provide an opportunity for you to support the Hot Topics that we do right here, guys, every Thursday on the Living Day by Day show. But as I was saying earlier, before we let Crazy E, I call him E. His name is Eric, but I call him E. You know, we always got to abbreviate, you know. Yes. And we were talking about financial wealth and wealth beyond Wall Street. And for those of you who know me, you don't know everything about me because I kind of keep my business at my house and not, all over social media. But for the small amount of people who really know me, know that I am financially cautious. I don't spend if I don't have to spend. I will break a penny 500 ways. You hear me? Because I've been in financial struggle before. A lot of people don't know when I was going through stage 3 breast cancer, I went from 6 figures to swiping an EBT card. And I am not ashamed to say that because my health was what it was at that time. I wasn't worrying about businesses or worrying about making money. And I went from the top of my game down to the bottom. And so I'm really excited tonight, guys, to be able to have a young man on the show tonight who is well-rounded, who is financially secure, who is an educator as it relates to the financial arena. So please help me welcome to the set of the Living Day by Day show for the very first time, Mr. Joseph Carey. How are you, sir?
I'm pretty good. And yourself? Thanks for having me on. Good evening, everybody else.
Hey there. So how are you so far? Did you have any trouble coming on to the show tonight?
No, I didn't. I've been actually doing quite a bit in the arena of Zooms during this pandemic. So it's been the modus vivendi.
Awesome. Awesome. So before we kind of jump into all the questions, and also I want to say hi to Lady Mac. She's in the Zoom room being a part of the Living Day by Day show. I'm sure she might have some questions as well for you. But before we jump into all the questions, please tell the people who you are and a little bit about your background.
Joe Carey. I'm the owner of Slight Edge Financial Incorporated. I have been in the financial industry probably about 22 years and counting. I started out at Prudential a long time ago. I stayed with Prudential probably about 2 years, maybe a little over. Right after 9/11, I decided to go in business for myself, and I've been independent financial advisor since then. So it's been a tremendous ride. One of the great things about my practice is I get to help people and I get to fulfill my life's work through my firm. So, I can talk all night about it, but I grew up rough. I grew up poor. And I think, a lot of times we learn in our life that your pain becomes your passion and probably your purpose. So I was fascinated with the financial industry, and I said after sports was over, that's what I was going to do, and that's where I've been since about 26 years old. I've been in the financial industry, so I'm telling on myself now how old I am.
We're all seasoned in the room today, so I want you to talk a little bit before comedian Eric jumps in, and we also have a guest host on tonight that probably will have some questions as well. But I want you to talk a little bit about where do you think the economy is right now financially? Do you think that the economy was prepared for this financial situation that we're in right now, or do you think this was just something that we'll never recover from?
Well, since about 2014, I've really been saying that the economy was going to collapse. It was headed for another correction.
Oh, wow.
I know, I'm probably in the minority in my industry that was saying that because everybody was so high on the market. I just felt like it was overpriced. And even going into 2016 with this current administration, I think they have done some things to prop it up with tax cuts, breaks to the rich, corporate stock buybacks, things that keep that market, up. And it's falsely inflated. I'm just going to say it like that. I'm really not the pessimist, but I just can't say anything good about where this economy is going. And I don't think we've seen the worst yet.
Wow. Yeah.
Wow.
I definitely agree. I think you know, we could just talk about a lot of people have not gotten their checks yet. A lot of people, you know, from a business perspective are still waiting for this disaster fund, you know, to come in. A lot of people have applied for the emergency $10,000 and you get the email back that, sorry, you won't be getting the money, you know. And so, you know, to me, it's like if we had it, the economy had the money, then why isn't money being released, you know? And so it's very alarming right now to see where we are financially. So that's the reason why I really wanted you to come on and kind of dive in and educate our viewers from a more financial perspective. Let's switch gears a little bit and talk about the stock market right now. Anybody that has a 401k, well, I'm not going to say they hurting. I'm just going to say you're losing money. Here's what it is, you know, unless you know somebody, you know, up high, we know how that works sometimes, but, you know, the stock market is what it is, you know. I mean, I've lost money. I said that in a previous show. I lost a little over $8,000 in the stock market, and that just, it hurted. It was like, you know, I felt like, oh my God, you know. So is there a way someone like myself or anybody who's viewing this show, could we have prevented from losing money in the stock market, or is that just the way the game goes? You lose some, you win some.
Well, in any variable product, such as a stock, a mutual fund, ETFs, things of that nature, there's going to be volatility. There's no way around it unless you're just going to put your money in some fixed account. There is no way around it. I think, you know, what I try to teach, I really come from an education standpoint with my firm, and really try to teach and educate and get people to rethink, to look at it differently, because the worst investment is the ones you don't understand. And there are some ways that people could have protected their money, but I'm not saying the stock market is bad. I think when you're in it and you don't understand it, that's when it's bad. And I think, you know, so many people have been bitten by that bug. You know, and I'm kind of a go against the grain individual in the industry. I have a love-hate relationship with my industry because I know where people are being taken advantage of, and, you know, money's being stolen from them, and they're being told one thing and it's another. You know, but, you know, it's just that knowledge that many people lack. And that's why I, you know, teach people how to safely create wealth beyond Wall Street, and to look at Wall Street as the secondary investment, not the first. You know, your safe money and your protected money should be your first investment. That's your foundation. And you build a house, you start with the protections, you start with the foundations and all the other things, and then you work your way up. And it's the same way with your financial house. You start with your protections. And so many, you know, the question that I asked today, and I ask it every chance I get, is why would a government herd millions of people into a product that is supposed to be for retirement, and they can wake up tomorrow and it's gone?
My God.
So when you talk about the 401k, it was created. It was created in 1978, but it wasn't created because the employers just love the people so much. It was created to increase the bottom line of corporations because they didn't want the responsibility anymore of their employees' retirement. So, you know, the 401k was created, and now it's up to the employee. And I mean, there's so much that I can, you know, tell you about this thing that'll make you think twice about it. But, you know, we have what we have today. You know, 90% of the companies don't offer pensions anymore. It's the 401k. And now everybody's nervous and concerned.
Yeah.
You know, especially people who just retired. They're nervous.
Yeah.
And then those of us who are hoping to retire, we're looking like, hey, what's going on here? So, you know, I really try to just get people to see it from another perspective. And, you know, I'm going to, you know, I tell you what you want to know and what you don't want to know. And that's just the way I run my firm. My audience might be slim, but, you know, the people with me, you know, my clients right now, they haven't lost a dime.
Oh, wow. I might
That's good.
need to
Yeah.
switch.
Here.
I need to call you after the Zoom.
Exactly. Well, my question to you is this, Mr. Joe. Now, since we can print money like it's tissue, why is that we ain't really, the government is broke? Because can't we just, I know this, you probably had this question before, why can't we just print, everybody can get $1 million and you just print up $1 million and give it to everybody? Because we can print a bunch of money. Is that not the issue? Is that the issue?
Well, they are printing money. They're just not giving it to everybody.
It's just not coming to me.
I mean, when you look at what the Fed has done, I mean, they put over upwards of $3 to $5 trillion into to try to keep the economy going, but they gave it to the big corporations. Now, my thinking is, they gave it to the big corporations, and all these corporations still laid their people off. They gave it to them for paycheck protection, but they still laid off all the employees. And these are people that had record profits for the last 3 years. And you telling me you had record profits in 3 years in a row, you got tax cuts, and in 2 months you're broke?
Right.
Come on now. Come on.
Exactly.
So, I just tell people you can't have justice in a corrupt system. It's not possible.
Absolutely.
And when you looking at money wise for a person, like, and they always talk about 6 streams of income that a person needs to have. Like, so what are like 3 streams of income that people can get right now and they don't really know that they can have right now?
Well, one, a lot of people, they've heard of annuities, but a lot of people really don't understand them. And the potential of stability that they have, because one, they protect the principal, so you cannot lose your money, and they have what they call fixed indexed annuities available now, where you can still take advantage of stock market type returns, but you don't share in the volatility of the market. So right now, where the market's down for the year, like my clients, they haven't lost any money, but they probably won't earn any. Whereas if you're in your 401k, you're probably down 20-25% right now.
Yeah.
So now,
all right, so
those
those smart people, for those smart people, not me, because I know what you mean. But for those who did not understand what an annuity is, and thought you were speaking some type of want to say bless you because they thought you sneezed. Can you tell everybody what is an annuity anyway? I'm not saying I know what you mean. I'm talking about for the other people, including me, because I didn't know what that was.
Good question.
Well, in short, it's an agreement between you and an insurance company that you are going to give them either a lump sum of money, or you're going to give them periodic payments over a period of time, which we call an accumulation period, to later get to a point where you would go into the final phase of that annuity, which is called the decumulation period, where you're going to either start taking the lifetime income, or you're just going to pull out percentages until the money's gone. But I tell people, if you're not going to buy the income, if you're not going to buy the annuity for the income potential that it has, because it can pay you for the rest of your life, or you're going to protect a legacy, then you shouldn't buy it. Mm-hmm. But in short, that's what an annuity is. And it's one other than Social Security. It's the only other form of investment that you can get into that guarantees you a lifetime income. There's no other financial vehicle that can guarantee you that other than Social Security. So why don't everybody, why is it that not everybody at least has one of these in their portfolio?
Right. Good questions. So right now where we are, we're in this COVID-19, we're in this pandemic right now. We have we have a lot of people who have lost their jobs. You have a percentage of people who have lost their job, but they do have some money, to fall back on. Then you have a percentage of people who have lost their job. They were paycheck to paycheck. That's it for them. They don't have any money to fall back on. They are worrying right now about how to pay their bills. What would you say to both groups of people about how to get into something, I don't know what it would be, to help them have a better understanding about, one, how money works, and what can they do with the little bit that they do have, or that they might get, to start to try and maximize so they won't be in this hole again when the economy goes through, hopefully not another pandemic, but another economic crisis.
Well, I sit here as a financial advisor to first say I'm not even exempt. You know, I have been there where I had to start over. I went through a bad divorce right around 2008 as all that stuff was happening. So, you know, I saw hundreds of thousands of dollars go away, and I had to start over. So I have empathy. And of course, you know, just growing up Black in America, you understand what it is to have been broke. So, you know, it's first things first, you know, and I tell everybody the best time to invest is when you have the money. Right. So if you don't have the money, it's about, okay, I got to get some stability under me. First things first, I got to keep a roof over my head. I got to pay my light bill. I got to, you know, feed my dog. I got to do these things. And then trimming the fat, because of, you know, let's face it, you know, if I'm talking to, you know, the majority, everybody tonight listening in is African American, we spend the whole dollar.
True.
So, you know, I tell everybody this. It's not all the government's fault right now what's going on, because had we had cash set aside, emergency money, you know, some of us would be able to, you know, bear the storm a little better and have some peace. But so many of us have bought into the American, I call it the American lie, not the American dream. And, you know, everybody's up to the, you know, if a country is in debt, the only way it gets out is keeping its people in debt. And they push that every time you turn on any kind of form of communication. They're trying to entice you to buy something, charge something, finance something. And 70% of this country's economy is from consumer spending. And who spends the most?
Right.
The people that look like us.
I'm gonna go somewhere when you're done. Right.
The spending power that we possess, we could bring companies to their knees if we just controlled our dollars and really, you know, decided who's worthy of getting our money. And then if we just put money aside and did some things and invested in ourselves, you know, if we could do more of that, we would be in a better place. But, you know, you got to do what you got to do. You got to take care of first things first. A lot of people are trying to figure out how they are going to pay bills, pay rents, mortgages. You know, you got to focus on that. And then it's not going to be easy for some people to come back from this. I'm really nervous for a lot of people, to be honest with you.
Right.
It's going to take some serious, serious trimming the fat. Some people are going to, you know, they bought a lot of things that they didn't need. Now they're going to have to sell a lot of things that they need in order to survive. And it's not pretty. It's not pretty. We got, 33 million unemployed as of today?
Wow.
So,
yeah. For those of you who are wondering, you know, this is the Living Day by Day show, and we're glad that you took the opportunity to tune in and be a part of what we do right here, guys, every Thursday from 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we always bring on some great guests to have an opportunity to talk to you and to educate you, to inform you, and to inspire you. And I'm excited tonight to have an opportunity to have a dialogue with a financial expert, financial educator, and that's none other than Mr. Joe Carey. But before I go into two questions that I have, because I'm gonna go deep with these two questions, we have a guest that is on with us tonight, and that's none other than Mrs. Lady Mack. I'm sure she might have a question or two for you, so we're gonna unmute her so she can come on in the room. Come on in the
Put her
room.
glasses on.
In the
Put her
room,
glasses on.
right there. Thank you for being a part of the show. Do you have a question for Mr. Carey?
Well, no, I'm listening, and I agree with most of it because I'm a comedian, and I have my company's Lady Mac Entertainment. And when I produce out to my people, you know, it's mostly African American women, and we do spend, they spend. And if we are, like you were saying, will spend together or stop spending so much out in other venues, we can do pretty good as African Americans.
Awesome. That was some great input. And thank you so much. We appreciate you being a part of the show.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
And I want to kind of stay on the same line of conversation that you were on, Joe. And I like to know, and I know the answer. I don't know everything, but I know this answer. Do you think from a percentage perspective that the majority of people who have the money, the majority of people who are not suffering right now, we're seeing them on the news, they're having conversations about what should be done, what should not be done. Do you think that the percentage of people who are financially secure, financially well off, not having an effect by this pandemic are Caucasian people? And if that is true, why aren't the other ethnicities also in a place of financial comfort?
Well, there are some. There's a remnant of us in this country that are comfortable and can make it through this unscathed to some extent. Putting it mildly. But we know the majority in this country. We know the majority are Caucasian, and we know those who are Caucasian that are not suffering. That's a small number. When you look at it, that's a small number because we talk about the 1%. The 1 to 5% is really that window of people that, they're really not hurt. And, they've been helped out even in this to make sure that they don't hurt. Because we've seen where money has gone that it shouldn't have gone to. People that didn't need the help. But it's the small businesses, the food trucks and things of that nature that are suffering, and probably some people are going to permanently be out of business. They're not coming back.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. No.
So it's we know the equity, the financial equity in this country is extremely lopsided.
Right. So let's kind of balance the conversation out because I always like to be fair. Do you think that there is a large percentage of African American people who are suffering right now financially? They lack the financial wisdom, have not had the desire to go after financial wisdom, and they're into the finest cars, they're into the finest weave, the finest shoes, the finest necklace. Everybody want a cross. And I'm not saying there's something wrong with the cross. I'm not saying that because I am definitely a woman of the cloth. But if you're out buying jewelry, I don't care what it is. If it's a cloth, a glove, I don't care what it is. But should you be spending your money, or let me say it more clearly, should an African American person who lacks financial wisdom, does not have enough money in the bank to live for a year, we say 6 months, but I think a year is better, should that person or persons be out buying the baddest hair weave, buying, getting their nails done, gotta be in a nail salon every 7 to 10 days, they're in the nail salon. Do you think the African American people who are suffering right now are suffering financially because they lack financial wisdom and they have not been wise with their dollars?
I get the question. I'm going to say yes. There's a lot of us that are, but I'm going to say this in a blanketed way. This is anybody in this country right now that has foolishly spent money and not saved for the rainy day. They're suffering right now because they don't know what they're going to do. And now, of course, you see some of the folks of of the other persuasion storming Capitol steps and demanding to go back to work. Now, we can't do that, But yeah, it's like I said, it's not the government's fault that people don't have emergency money. That's not the government's fault, because the book that I read for a long time said, consider the ant that stores up.
Absolutely. And the reason why I really wanted to bring some conversation around this, because we know that everybody is, there are a lot of people who are suffering, whether they're white or Black. But what I really wanted to drive is that, the percentage of African Americans, they were suffering before the pandemic. The pandemic did bring about the suffering. You were already suffering, and for a variety of reasons. I'm not saying that I've crossed the fence and I'm so good. I'm certainly not sending that message. I grew up in the hood, 4 sisters, 2-bedroom house, couches on bricks. I know I come from a very rough background, but because I came from a rough background, I worked day in and day out to ensure that I was able to provide a good life for myself and for my children. But I still see, and it's black and white, but I'm not saying, there is a percentage of white people who just, are not suffering. I'm not sending that message. But what I want to drive tonight to the audience is that, whoever you are, especially if you are struggling right now, you were struggling before the pandemic, this is time for you to pull back, and I'm preaching to myself as well. I'm one, I like to shop, even though I shop with caution. I'm only shopping with extra money. I'm not shopping with money that I'm pulling out of savings or anything like that. But even in that, I had to step back and say, you don't need that dress, girl. Especially now in the pandemic, it would be foolish of you to go online and buy some clothes. It would be foolish of you to do that. But we know that there are people who are in this situation right now, suffering financially, really had nothing to do with the pandemic. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think some people were, stretched before this happened, and this just, it's like the rubber band popping.
Right.
Again, check to check. I've been there when it's check to check. I've been at that place in my life when I come into the end of a week and I only got, only have $20. Those painful times taught me something. You should grow through your pain. If you don't, God, the universe, whatever you want to call it, is going to say, well, you didn't learn, take another lap. Because you didn't learn.
Right.
And in this season, everybody's being dealt with in different ways. Even the people that think they're powerful, they're not. And we're all going to see it before too long.
I agree with that. So right now, where we are right now, what advice, we have just a couple seconds, a couple minutes, that is, before the show comes to a close. What would you recommend for the people out there who are living paycheck to paycheck, or the businesses who, you applied for, the money from the government, but you wasn't quick enough in submitting your application. And so the people who got the money was maybe the ones who did it faster, or maybe the rich and famous who the money went to. I don't know. I don't know what the scenario is.
He said the rich and famous.
They're already rich and famous, but they qualified because now their business is shut down, So what advice would you give, those two groups of people who, they're suffering right now because of the pandemic, whatever it might be, because they can no longer run their business, or now you are already struggling, and what do you do now? We're here. What do we do now? We don't want to talk about what happened before because we can't change that. What can we do now to get on a financial track to move forward?
Well, there are some people who were struggling that didn't mess up. They didn't mess up money. They were just, the business was just tough.
Yeah.
But then you have probably more of those people that wasn't the case. They had extra money, but they spent it. They bought clothes or whatever they bought. My thing to them is learn the lesson. Learn the lesson. These times are supposed to teach us something. These times are supposed to make us better, make us seek the help that we need. So again, like you said earlier, so that you're not in this position ever again. But if it doesn't hurt bad enough, and I think that's what, doesn't matter what our skin looks like. I think the only times we really respond is when it hurts bad enough.
Yeah.
And we're on our way. We're on our way individually, and we're on our way collectively as a country. We're on our way. And when it hurts bad enough, that's when people will make themselves vulnerable and humble themselves and make the change, because the attachment to stuff is the suffering. And that's what everybody is, in the back of everybody's mind. It's like, I'm going to lose my stuff. But you're not the stuff. So many people find so much identity in the stuff. And I did it at one point too. But going through what I went through in 2008, I was like, you can have it all, take it all. Yeah. And as a financial advisor, I had to file bankruptcy.
Yeah.
At that time. So again, just because I sit here and have the knowledge that I have, I wasn't following it to the letter.
Absolutely.
So now I really have been taught to practice what I preach. And, I sold a 3,500 square foot house and moved into a 1,200 square foot apartment. I got rid of the luxury car. I got rid of all that stuff because that's not my identity. So, it's not going to be easy for most, but once you can get past the opinions of other people about you and what you have and what you drive, life is so much easier.
I agree. I definitely agree. I think this whole pandemic has taught, including me, it has really taught us a lot, whether you are, struggling for the next dollar. It has taught all of us a lot, that the things that we thought we needed, we really didn't need, and I think it really has taught a lot of business owners a lot of things as well, that, here you are paying for this big high rise and got all your employees in this nice office, and now people have to, we have to practice social distancing. And now you're at a point where you're thinking as a business owner, why was I spending $25,000 a month for a lease on a building, when I could have sent my employees home to work remotely. So I think, there has been a lot of negative about coronavirus. Of course, someone losing their life is definitely not a positive. So there's been a lot of negative, but there has also been a lot of positive as well. Do you have any last questions or remarks for Mr. Joe?
Well, I thank you just for coming on and being vulnerable, sharing the fact that, you still had to learn life's lessons, even though, you're a financial advisor. And I think that's this, people just got to be, what I gather from this is that you just got to be honest with where you are and be truthful, because if you're not honest and truthful where you are, then you can't be helped. The doctor can't help you unless you know what your temperature is and know all this stuff. I got my temperature done today because I went to a restaurant. And guess what? The restaurant wasn't letting anybody in if your temperature wasn't good. And so they put their things on my forehead, they zapped me, and it said 94. I said, thank you, I can come on in. I went and got my carrier and went right back out the door. But they weren't going to let me in without getting my temperature. That I'm saying that is that we got to be honest with our temperature of our finances.
Lord.
And if we're not honest at where it is, my financial brother, Mr. Joe Carey, he can't help you if you ain't honest. So I appreciate you, brother, for being honest. And just one last question. Who did you sell the cars to? Because I need another vehicle, and I don't know if you still got any of your fancy cars, And is there someone that can, I can live in one of the rooms in the house that you saw? Because you said you was at 34 square feet. That's at least, I don't know, about 6 or 8 rooms, and you went to apartment. So I'm just saying, give me your info so I can make sure we can work this out.
Right. What's the address to the house you sold? Is it? Let me get in there.
It was 4 bedrooms. It was 4 bed, 3 bath. But it was just too much space. I was heating and cooling rooms that I didn't even walk in. Didn't make sense. Didn't make sense. And the cars, I gave them back to the dealership.
Right.
So
Called a lease.
Okay.
Called a lease. You just lease it for 3 years and
so
get it.
It's at Brumo's Lexus here in Jacksonville, Florida. So if you want to go by
Okay.
I got it. Right? Down in Jayville. Yes, I love Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Miss Lady Mac, guest host of the Living Day by Day show. What you got?
Woo-hoo.
Well, no, I enjoyed listening to all of this knowledge because I'm in Los Angeles and people are out. So it doesn't seem as much as a pandemic, but they're out. I guess they're starting to lighten up a little bit and they're taking their masks off a little. But I really learned about, because I was always like, I save money. I go to foreign countries, I go everywhere, and my income is already small. But the old saying is, it's not what you make, it's how much you save. And so I save and I go out and I invest in the community, but I budget my money very well. So I wanted to say that, and I learned some lessons from you, Mr. Is it Joe? My glasses. Joe Carey, I got it.
Yes.
So thank you.
Thank you so much.
You're
Well,
welcome.
Mr. Carey, we thank you for taking an opportunity to be a part of the Living Day by Day show today. We have learned a plethora of information about financial wealth. Could you please tell the people how they can get in contact with you?
I can be contacted through my website, which is slightedgefinancial.com. My contact phone number is 904-483-0746. And we are a nationwide firm, so we can work anywhere in the United States. We don't charge fees. That's another thing I tell everybody. We don't charge fees.
Oh.
No fees for no guarantees. If you're paying a fee to somebody, you're paying them to guess, because nobody knows what that market's going to do. It's all speculation, or as I call it, legalized gambling. So
Right.
we don't charge fees. So if you're paying a fee, make sure you're being guaranteed something other than that you can lose your money.
Guarantees you don't lose your money, right? Well, thank you so much. We do appreciate you stopping by the Living Day by Day show. We'll definitely have to have you on again to be able to educate our audience about financial wellness.
Thank you for having me. Nice meeting everybody. Have a great evening.
Awesome. Well, there you have it, guys. It truly has been an awesome opportunity just to have Mr. Carey be a part of the Living Day by Day show, and guest host to Lady Mac for stopping by, guys. Remember, every Thursday right here on the Living Day by Day show, we will be giving you an avenue of information, an avenue of education, and an avenue of inspiration. Make sure you stop by our website, which is livingdaybyday.net. Until next time, be safe and God bless you. Bye, everybody.
Good night. Take care.
Bye-bye.